Our world is changing. It will progress as fast as possible, driven by visionary entrepreneurs like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Ellis Martin. We're all seeking better ways to support our modern life while caring for our planet and all that's in it. It's not easy to ride the line between environmental care and industrial productivity, but steps are being made by Martin Laboratories EMG to provide what this new world needs to grow and the environmental care to do it right. CEO Ellis Martin, who has been a primary media source for the mining industry for decades, sees it like this.
You can talk about climate change, you can talk about global warming, but really what people understand is what they're breathing every day, even in places such as Los Angeles, where you're by the sea, and often you cannot see what's in the air. You can breathe it, and you can wipe it off of your table, and it's black. And as much as we have a plentiful supply of fossil fuel, which really isn't going to disappear, it's still a pollutant. And I'm not talking about clean natural gas or compressed natural gas. I'm not discussing that. I'm talking about really the burning of oil and the making of plastic and what that's doing to our environment.
Vertical integration is a common term, but what does it mean when it comes to energy metals? It means that every step of the process is analyzed for efficiency, environmental protections, social integration, and governmental policies, or ESG. For Martin Laboratories, this is a nose-to-tail approach. It doesn't just apply to the steps after production, but to the preliminary steps that must take place prior to drilling and extraction, manufacture, and delivery. In brief, ESG criteria consider how a company performs as a steward of nature and examines how it manages relationships with employees, suppliers, customers, and the communities where it operates. The governance aspect deals with a company's leadership, its internal controls, and shareholder rights. Martin Laboratories EMG strives to maximize ESG throughout its operations. To make the process efficient and also follow ESG criteria doesn't just make the process smoother, but safer, cleaner for people, and better for the planet.
I can remember being in high school in the 70s and writing essays on pollution in our environment, and preparing that for the debate team more or less. It was an issue back then. And our air in the 70s and our water was filthy. And I grew up in New York State. The Hudson River was extremely polluted. And the soot in New York City during the day, the sky was basically white. We've come a long ways since that time, but we haven't come far enough. So there's a global push towards clean tech, clean energy, sustainable energy. It didn't start here in the United States. It really started a long time ago in Europe. It started in Norway. It started in Sweden. It started in Finland. It began there with their mandate to protect these beautiful landscapes, such as the fjords in Norway, and the greenery and the air. And if you've been to Europe, you've seen this, how ecologically minded that area is.
Tightening government efficiency targets are pushing car manufacturers to electrify a larger share of their produced fleets, pushing even harder on supplies of nickel, cobalt, and platinum group elements, or PGEs. The projected need is 5 times the current production, and that's just the near term. The battery is the single most costly part of an EV, currently making up between 35 to 45% of total cost. It is also expected to be the tightest in supply, as EV production and supply chains ramp up in the coming years. Not having this strategic part of the production process established carries significant supply chain risks. The market for energy metals represents a potentially substantial, but so far untapped, opportunity for battery makers, car makers, and the economy in general. Currently, the EV battery market is dominated by China, but the rest of the world is catching up rapidly. Supply, production, usage is becoming widespread. New battery factories will need materials. Additionally, car makers, especially in Europe, have struggled to secure sufficient battery supply. They run the risk of being at a disadvantage to competing car manufacturers that are closer and better able to secure battery supply as the demand for EVs grows. As a result, The potential exists for a lucrative opportunity with battery manufacturers that establish themselves in the right places at the right times, within regulatory constraints and vertically integrated with both the mines and the car makers. Coincidentally, the demand for PGEs may be even stronger, as they are a key element of a variety of clean technologies and bridge technologies. Worldwide, platinum group elements are used in a broad range of applications, including technologies and sectors that are aiming for the reduction of environmental impacts, like catalytic converters, or as a catalyst in fuel cell-driven vehicles. The PGEs, like platinum and palladium, occur together in nature, in combination with accessory gold in mineralized systems that also contain nickel, copper, and cobalt. The future demand for PGEs is likely to increase due to a rise in eco-friendly application development and implementation. It is therefore important to understand that PGE deposits can only be found in a limited number of sites worldwide. Some not so ecologically focused, or with stable governments.
Where do we begin? We focus on energy collection and the preservation of that energy now and into the future. What are some of the most important natural resources needed to accomplish the collection and preservation of energy? We believe it is primarily nickel.
If you believe in the jurisdiction, you believe in the metal, the worldwide demand for nickel is booming. It's thermal right now. It's incredibly hot. It's not just hot because it's the commodity of the day. It's hot because it's a necessary commodity to make the batteries that we need to drive the world forward. This is something that we're really excited about, and Ellis Martin and Martin Laboratories has taken full advantage of this supply and demand trend, as well as these excellent jurisdictions. The exploration group at EMX is really second to none. We've got top nickel experts, we've got exploration managers and geologists that understand the rocks, that work really well as a team. It's a mature team. We've been in the region for 15 years. It's not as if we've just come in.
For the past 20 years, I've been looking for the right place to step into the resource sector. The infrastructure, the jurisdiction in Sweden and Norway for getting things done is solid. It's all there. The government is so ecologically minded, they provide grants to invest in this sector. And with the help of EMX Royalty Corp, Martin Laboratories EMG will explore, develop, and produce, hopefully, a large source of nickel primarily, and then copper and cobalt.
The rapidly improving economics of EVs and a regulatory push across different countries make it possible that EVs will reach parity with internal combustion engine vehicles by the mid-2020s in Europe and soon after elsewhere. This is a huge change and will require investments by ecologically minded industrial leaders and governments to progress. The rush is on now. Why Norway and Sweden? The political systems in most European countries are predictable, and there is a strong commitment in most levels of government to transition to a lower carbon system, of which EVs and their batteries are a key component. The culture of mining in Scandinavia is a long and important tradition, and Norway and Sweden provide key aspects lacking in other locations. In Norway, the government provides supportive policies and new incentives to promote industry and foreign direct investment. This provides the team with predictable and efficient administration, easier application for larger areas, and with lower fees, lower energy costs, and a low corporate tax rate. And there is high-quality infrastructure in place now.
Working in Scandinavia is just an absolutely perfect place to work. Talking about jurisdiction, you can walk up to all of your drill targets. So I just want to talk a little bit about the two projects in Sweden. They're called Nuktrasliden and Mjovatnet. And EMX has been working on these for a couple of years, compiling data and generating drill targets. And we're excited to have Martin Laboratories be the partner to advance these. I think this is a really exciting project, and you actually have some historical resources on the property that are in the caliber of already producing nickel mines.
There are 6 smelters in the region and accessible deep water ports, a huge advantage. Add to that an excellent nationwide road and rail system. There's widespread cultural acceptance of mining. Martin Laboratories projects in Norway and Sweden have well-connected ports with good access to markets. The holdings of Martin Laboratories and EMX are within the region's highly prospective ground, and they established a presence there early and are poised now to move forward. This created the appropriate moment for EMX to approach Martin Laboratories for its worldwide expertise and intelligence, as well as capital support. Partner NGU provided $5.6 million for geophysical exploration, geological mapping, and resource evaluation. However, more development is needed now. Fostering vertical integration is part of the Martin Laboratories DNA. It's built with top-level communication and quality team building. The Nordic prowess in clean tech isn't due to location alone. Foresight and long-term thinking have been at work. The Scandinavian governments are expanding exploration, and Martin Laboratories, along with EMX Royalty, are participating. Martin Laboratories and EMX are both long-term mining culture participants. It all adds up.
I want nickel sulfide assets in Sweden that are within a stone's throw of a smelter, within a stone's throw of a port, that I can get to with a Volvo, with social support in jurisdictions that are excellent for mining. These are boxes we've checked. These are excellent opportunities that I think anybody that is paying attention would be very excited about.
And we're going to explore that Earth, and we are going to find, hopefully, enough of a supply to really make a difference, not only in Europe, but globally.
Energy metals demand is expected to grow under the current world move for application development, and few countries are endowed with Scandinavia's prodigious subterranean mineral and thermal riches. Norway's plentiful hydroelectric power provides low-cost green power for its electric vehicles and for the mining industry.
Planet Earth, through the growth of clean technology, is organically and by design evolving toward an environmental utopia. This is our future. This is being accomplished via a multitude of developmental uses of battery minerals and metals. Power generation is not a byproduct as much as it is the sole product and purpose of what greets us every day, our sun. Capturing and containing that energy as the main source of supply, powering an ever-increasing demand, remains the vision statement of our company, Martin Laboratories EMG.
The future looks bright for efficiency in exploration. But how do we find these deposits with any certainty? The Martin Laboratories EMX team has access to the nation's large archives of areas suitable for exploration. Exhausting and extensive ground search was the only way in the past. That method is labor-intensive and very expensive. Today's technology provides ways that allow underexplored areas to be searched with higher resolution than satellite or even high-altitude aircraft scans. This search method involves drones. Drones are being used as a less invasive method to get high-resolution images of land for the exploration of potential drill sites. The collected data is then analyzed by the Martin Laboratories EMX team to determine the geological composition of the landmass, which is then further developed through 3D modeling to understand the structural position of the minerals and the area's capability. There is no doubt that drones have transformed modern mining. The monetary savings of using drones in place of planes for surveying is considerable, as much as $5 million in savings for just that phase. It's not surprising that the investment Martin Laboratories has committed to will reduce costs and result in the most efficient and environmentally conscious use of funds during exploration. The experienced geologists on the Martin Laboratories EMX team are in place now.
So when you've got a jurisdiction like Scandinavia that's excellent in every single category, social license and environmental social governance, they've got high standards. It's a place where you can produce metals ethically, responsibly, with first world technology. It's an impressive place to work. You've got a lot of community support. These guys realize that batteries are the future.
There is indeed a constellation of conditions that in aggregate make the Martin Laboratories project attractive to investors, and in particular those concerned about the environment. Martin Laboratories and their partner EMX and others have based operations in a location where not only are the deposits easier to get to, but they're close to a port for delivery to customers. This lowers the impact of the mining to market process on the environment.
We at Martin Laboratories EMG have methodically sought out the most technologically advanced and ethically minded sustainable energy jurisdictions in the world, with an emphasis on infrastructure and mine-to-market expediency. We've located that locale with the help of our partners EMX Royalty.
The Nordics are a model in miniature that the rest of the world wants to reproduce. It simply takes vision, investment, and entrepreneurial spirit.
I'm humbled to work with this team of people. They're really excellent, they're dedicated, and we've got everything that we need in place to run a robust exploration program in both Norway and Sweden.
The world is catching on to environmental stewardship and clean energy brought about by energy metals development. So are investors. From mining to manufacture to consumer, this growth will take millions of tons of nickel, cobalt, and PGEs. Martin Laboratories is in the process of executing the most comprehensive nickel exploration program in the history of Scandinavia. The opportunity, the rush, is on now. The deposits the world needs are likely waiting underground in the Martin Laboratories EMG holdings. This is your invitation to join the team or just learn more. Contact Martin Laboratories EMG and help shape the future